why are you doing this? Why are you keeping the trackers? Why are you going this extra work of keeping track of things in your like exercise, sleep? The reason, at least for me, is I want to quickly spot if things are not the way they should be. Now, that said, and potentially the second point is like try to slowly improve on some of the metrics.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, Tim.
What you got for me?
Today, I'd like to talk back about fitness trackers, our healthy routines. Apparently, that's becoming quite of a popular episode. So the one that we had in the past. So I thought, why don't we revisit and actually talk about like what's our current status? Are we still using them? Are you still using yours? What's the update around all things fitness tracking, sleep tracking, health optimization? One of the topics we like to talk about.
Yeah, actually, I mean, it's not even that I still use it. It's that when we last talked, I hadn't actually received it yet. I had ordered it, but not received it. So now I've been wearing it for, what is it, like 4 months or so?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know when the last episode was, but it was like 2023 for sure. So no, it must be more, like 5-6 months. Yeah. So let's definitely compare notes.
Definitely. Okay, so I guess the first thing I wanted, like I was actually curious about is, so you started using it.
Yeah.
We talked a lot before about like the differences. We just for I guess to update. I'm still using the Fitbit. The one that I had, and you're using the Oura Ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was considering because Whoop. So this is the two I was considering when I first bought it were Oura and Whoop for just because of the comfort of wearing them, but also like to see the accuracy and stuff. And the problem of just having one is like you can't compare it with anything because like me comparing my data with you makes little sense. Like to test the device, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Whoop actually, so my now ex-girlfriend got a free trial for the Whoop because the Whoop offers a free trial, which is really nice, I think. So you can use it for a month and you just pay the shipping of the device. And I was thinking to do that, to wear both for a month and compare if they give me approximately the same data. That was an experiment I was considering.
Yeah, I mean, Whoop, I was actually looking into it a lot because of the HRV, right? Like, because it's supposed to be one of the best trackers for HRV and sleep. But and also what I liked, I mean, it seemed quite flexible. The reason why I went for the Fitbit was because it was quite inexpensive and the battery lasts 10 days, which is very important for me because it happens many times.
How long is the Whoop?
I think a week or less. Let's see.
But the thing about the Whoop is you can charge it while you wear it. You don't have to take it
4 or 5 days. Whoop has 4 or 5 days. So basically half the time the Fitbit lasts.
Yeah, but you can leave it on while you charge it. Like I think the way they do it is you actually charge a battery device and then you put the battery device on the wearable, like on the Whoop, while you walk around at home or something.
Which is
so
even more complicated, right? If you think about it.
No, but like you don't have to take it off. I think that's the whole point.
That's a good point.
The ring, you cannot charge it without taking it off. You have to take it off, right?
Yeah, but I mean, a little blind spot's not gonna. But I see why. Like, I see the value of that, but on the other hand, is another piece that I could lose. So like,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
also, does the Fitbit? How is it charged? Does it have like a USB port or something?
Yeah, like it comes with a USB thing. You attach it to it. It charges in like 30 minutes, so it's really not a big deal.
How long?
30 minutes, I think. Yeah. I might be wrong. It could be an hour.
The Oura, obviously, you have to have the charging station because it's a ring. Like it doesn't have any sort of plug. Like you have to use the charging station. That's what I was thinking about. Like if I ever, like forget it when I travel or like lose it or whatever, like I'm kind of fucked
Oh,
because
if that's what you're saying, like no, the Fitbit has their own, like
it does have a charging station.
its own charging thing.
Okay,
It
so
is a USB,
all
but
of them, you kind of fucked if you lose the charging thing.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
for sure. That's for sure. But I mean, it's one thing to think about, because when you use them daily, like I always think about these things this way, like it has it. If it's a burden, if it's an extra burden in my daily life, then there's something wrong, right? I told you that I started doing this life logging thing, which is interesting. If you want, we can talk about it. Like, I mean, to me, it is interesting, but I'll see at the end of it, um, like if I get some good stats. Basically, it is this small. It's really a Google form with a few inputs every day, every evening. When I'm in bed, I just like fill it out, right? It takes me literally less than 3 minutes, and the idea is to track the most important things that I want to keep tracking every day, and then see potential trends. So like I track how productive I felt that day, right? Or my mood that day, or like in a scale from 1 to 4. So everybody can do it the way they want, but like I thought that way so that I don't.
You can't use 5 in the
right. I can't be in the middle. Like the problem is 3, right?
Yeah.
And then like I track the interactions, not really the interactions, that like meaningful interactions with friends and family. Like have I spent, like who did I have dinner with, by myself or with others, and who was it? So also because I had this, it opens another chapter, but like I have this feeling sometimes that I don't spend enough time with my loved ones. And so by tracking it, I want to see, is it really true, or it's just my perception of it, right? Yeah. So basically this logging thing, I use it for keeping track of the important things that I want to see how they evolve, and also supplements. There's another thing that I
How long have you been doing it? The tracking?
I think it's been a couple of months now. Okay. The problem is sometimes, like I think, like I don't know how to frame the questions, the points, because there are some things I want to do and keep track of that I do, and things that I don't want to do, and I want to keep track that I don't do them, right? But the problem is that, like for instance, don't want to eat meat, right? So one of those logger item is, did I not eat meat? The problem I was thinking about is that then the days where I skip, I don't have the information, which doesn't mean that I did or did not, right?
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah. I think we need another call on systems. Because like I the other day was trying to reorganize my habits and to-dos and goals and stuff, and I think like this is actually something I think you're much better at than me, like organizing yourself in that way. And I think I'd need a call. I don't know if we need to record it or not, but like I definitely need one just for you to help me set up mine.
For sure.
And maybe we can give each other feedback on our systems.
Yeah, I mean, I always like to optimize these things, and but yeah, so it goes back to the tracking fitness or not fitness, right? So I think it's a way it works. What I want to see, like the end of it. I was looking at a guy, I don't remember, recently, that like basically is tracking everything about himself, and passively and non-passively, and then he was showing his charts, and I was like, most of the things that he's showing, I would say 95%, it would be common sense to realize, when there was COVID, I did not do so much exercise and walking. Of course. So like, I think, I don't know the real value of it, but what I'm trying to do is like tie those logging items back to the goals that I have for the year.
Yeah.
So ideally, you're supposed to revisit this every month or week, but it's a bit of work, and so there's always something.
Let's just do a call on systems and goal setting and all this, and then I think that's a.
But yeah, going back to the fitness trackers, what I like about Fitbit is that at least you don't really think about it, except the times that you have to charge it, and ultimately, like losing one day doesn't really impact too much. I don't know how consistent you are
I
on
wear it
keeping
all the time. I think I actually even in the gym I wear it, which like it definitely scratches it using it with the weights, which sucks a little bit. I found my way to like try to avoid it, but like I see the scratches, but I don't care so much. One time this was actually disgusting. I How was it? I think I was like doing like incline dumbbell or something, and then I was like dropping the weight.
Mhm.
When you drop the weight to the side and don't look,
Yeah.
and there was another dumbbell there, and my finger got caught in between the two dumbbells, and the ring uh, made kind of like I don't know what it's called, like the balls of your hand. Like, is that what it's called? Like, the part just below the finger,
Yeah.
like it like burst open and started bleeding.
Okay.
Where because the ring was there and like it got like squeezed between the ring and the dumbbell, the skin, and then it's like burst open and started
Yeah.
bleeding. That sucked. But otherwise, yeah, I wear it all the time. Let's talk about battery life, because like I think that's like the thing that bothers you the most, and um, also keeps you from wearing it, I guess, if you have to take it off. But I wear it all the time. And I got into the habit of like charging it just a little bit every day, like after breakfast or
Yeah.
something, because like for me sleep was the most important anyway. And then kind of during the day, kind of like my stress levels, and I'll tell you why I care about what after, I guess. But so I try to charge it, yeah, let's say for half an hour. Like usually, like it never goes below like 60-70% charge, and then I top it up to 100 every day.
But that's not really good for battery health,
I
right?
don't know if that's true. Like I think like I saw a video. I mean, I'm not an engineer or anything, but I saw a video on that recently. And I think the what is good for a battery and what's not good for a battery is actually has changed a lot over time based on new battery technology. So I don't know for sure for this one and so on, but I think it's most of the time lithium ion, and most of the new devices come with adaptive charging. So the software that you know is taking care of the charging
Yeah.
for you also controls the charging rate and so on to like improve battery life. At least like for my phone, that's definitely
Yeah,
the case.
no, that is true. But there are some things like the fact, and it it applies to like small and large scale batteries. It's the same as like why Tesla charges initially very fast, but then the more it's I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
it's physics, right? Like the more it charges, the harder it gets to charge
yeah.
because of the yeah. And the way they described it to me in general is you have to use your batteries fully. So you have to go as
Yeah, I
close.
think that's not correct anymore. I mean, okay, let's just be clear that I don't know for sure, but I watched a video recently where they said that with current batteries, it's actually best that they're never at 0 and never at 100, and that they're always around like 60 to 80. That's what I actually recently heard.
I don't know. The way my anecdotal experience with laptops is, which is not the same as trackers for sure, but like, is I try my battery tends to last. When you see the battery health checker and it tells you like how you're doing, how many charges you've done, and like what's your current battery status,
Yeah.
like health status. Like overall, like by reducing it as much as possible and then like filling it up all in one go, like what really harms is really the opposite what I learned of what you're saying. Like what really harms battery lifespan is this continuous like on and off. Like if you charge, you better go to till the end, and
No,
you
yeah.
better
So I just looked it up, and I think you're incorrect. So it says lithium-ion batteries, which is the most common technology. They like to be at 80%. That's their favorite charge to be at for long life. So you should never store them at
but
100%.
that is not saying what I'm saying in terms of the in terms of not in like intermittent charging is not what they like. That's what I well like at least that's what
Oh,
I read on the
okay. I
Apple.
don't. I mean, honestly, I don't
Yeah,
know.
I don't know.
Like, I
But
think
anyway, like
it strays away from the
yeah.
fitness trackers, but I do it. So I'll tell you why I do it. I learned very quickly in the beginning. I really wanted to test the lifespan, or not the lifespan, the battery life. So I let it. I never charged it in the first couple of days, and actually, so technically, I'm gonna say technically, the battery lasts as long as they say, or actually even longer. But if effectively it doesn't, and this really pissed me off a little bit, because um, the sleep tracking stops working after 30%. So
Mm.
so basically, effectively, you only have 70% of the battery life that they say you do, and this really pissed me off a lot, because like I was like, oh, I still have 30%. Let's see when when it's empty, and then like the last night, it just didn't record anything, and I was really upset.
Yeah, sometimes that like it happens to mine as well. Like it just like misses a night, and you're like,
Yeah.
why? Like, did I move too much? No, I think it's yeah.
So the
This
point is that you can't actually have it go to zero. Like it's actually impossible. If you want it to like track your sleep, you can never have it go below 30. Never. By
that's on
design.
the Oura Ring, not on Fitbit.
Yeah, so
Uh,
I'm just saying like this is like
yeah.
maybe technically it lasts 5, 6, 7 days. I don't even know what they say anymore. Um, but effectively, it's only 70% of whatever they say, which made me a little bit upset. Yeah.
I see. No, I mean Fitbit on this is pretty reliable. Like it, sometimes I think it's 9, 10 days that I don't charge it for, and then if I'm unlucky, it dies out while I'm sleeping. But most of the times, it's not the case. Even with I go to bed with 5%, it still records the night, which is
That's
great.
crazy. Well, it
Yeah.
also,
So
it also depends on, it's a little bit of a UX question also, because they could say 5%, but actually it's
yeah,
35, but they don't tell you because they,
yeah,
the baseline of zero is actually 30%. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
It's about how
That would
they,
actually be
that would be
smart.
nice. Yeah, I think that would be nice
Yeah.
of them to do. I think Aura should do that because it's bullshit that you can't use it after 30%.
Yeah. Tell me this. Did you? So it's been 4 months. You said right that you used it. Um,
I think it's been longer. No, I just checked, and my first measurement was in November, and now it's end of April, so it's at least 6 months, probably a
okay.
little bit more than 6 months.
Would you say it has changed anything? But knowing, because this is the biggest question, right? That I think everybody that starts using fitness trackers has. Like, would you say this has changed anything in your habits, in your like routines, like knowing, getting to know every day metrics on your current situation, right, or the previous day, has in any way impacted your behavior?
Yeah, I think so. So the first thing it changed was my bank account, uh, because it's pretty expensive compared to, I think the Fitbit was much cheaper, right?
That was
Because
before you try it on, so it's fine. Yeah.
yeah, and uh, so there's a couple of things that changes. I think like it changes. Also, I mean, it's a that's a social thing, but it changes my conversations with people because like they see it, and I use it sometimes to like as an excuse to leave or something.
Oh yeah,
So
like,
yeah, no, I'm just like, oh, I need to go to bed. Like my sleep score was really bad last night or something, whatever.
oh really?
Uh,
You say that? Okay,
I
it's
mean, like
interesting.
along those lines. I mean, it's kind of true, right? So other things, I think there's a couple of things that that it changed. I think I kind of like look at recovery more. So it's both good and bad because sometimes it's psychology, right? It's like a
Mm,
placebo nocebo thing. Like sometimes your score is bad and actually you don't feel that tired, but your score says you should be tired, and then you like tell
yeah,
yourself you're tired. So that's one thing. Um, and but I look at recovery stuff now. So for example, Aura just introduced this new feature called resilience, and dude, like when they started it, my resilience was like at strong, and so the categories they have are exceptional, strong, solid, adequate, and limited, right? And then like
okay.
from so I started they started it in what is it, like February, and it was like strong, and then I went to solid and went down and down and down, and then recently I went on vacation and it was like it was at the bottom of adequate, almost like limited. So like the bottom run, right? There's like 5 scores, and
Mm,
I was almost at zero. I was like at 1.1 or something, and that's the thing where I'm like, okay, I think I should recover. And there's other things where you see trends and then you react to the trends, right? So like your sleep
yeah,
score has been going down over a few weeks, so you're like, oh, maybe I should like take it easy for a little bit. Or and this is actually, so this is I think one of the biggest ones, and I'll talk about sleep after, but this is something I realized along the way, and I think this is super cool. um so there's a lot of things where it's very black boxy and you don't know what it's doing, what
yeah,
it's telling you.
yeah,
And in particular, like, what is stress, what does it mean? They don't tell you what it is. And at least my personality, I like to understand everything and so on, so it pisses me off a little bit. um not to understand where this is coming from, but I realized some correlations, like just looking at it, and I'm gonna do some like actual analysis, and I already started like using Python to like actually analyze my data and look at correlations and stuff. But for example, I can see when I'm getting sick, which is super cool.
Yeah,
So
that is
the
true.
so the I was sick a lot actually over the winter, and one of the things I see is that my daily stress time, so how much I'm stressed in hours per day, is usually telling me an approaching sickness, unless there's a reason for the stress. So if I go to the gym a lot and like run around a lot and so on, then it's up also. But if I just sit at home and the stress level is high, which probably just means my HRV is very low or something,
Yeah.
but they don't tell you, then I know I might be getting sick, and this is actually super useful. And like if I look at the graph of my stress levels per day, it's almost like 100% correlation when I was getting sick. So this is very helpful, and reacting to trends like this. And I'm like, oh my god, so my HRV has been low, or like my sleep score has been getting worse. Like I should take a few days to like really recover. So this is something I'm kind of trying to do, and then like also try to kind of match it with my gym routine and so on. Doesn't always work, right? And then sleep wise, so this is like really the two things I'm using stress and sleep. Like there's also other things like readiness and activity. My activity is always 100%, literally. I think every day it's 100%. Like it's a score from 0 to 100.
Okay.
Sometimes it's like 95. That's a bad day, because I'm super active. But sleep, yeah. So the main thing I notice is that my deep sleep is shit. It's super low usually. I think I'm super restless, and so this is the main thing I'm trying to optimize for. I don't even optimize for my sleep score anymore. I mean, indirectly, I'm trying to optimize my deep sleep, because I think this is the thing that is giving me most of my daily issues, like in terms of like being tired, having a headache,
Yeah.
or being depressed or whatever. Um, and I'm experimenting with myself a little bit, as to what makes me get more deep sleep. And I'm trying to I'm kind of figuring it out. I think the main thing I found out for myself is that consistency is like key, like in terms of like consistent routines and times and so on. Whenever I don't have like a regular bedtime or something, it like gets super out of whack. And I kind of knew this, but like not that it's so strong compared to the other things. So for example, things that I also know affect me are like, when I drink coffee in the day, like if I eat late or not, and they do have an effect, but the consistency in doing them has much more effect. So for example, if I think the best thing would be to eat at 7 p.m. and go to bed at 10 p.m. every day, right? But let's say I eat late every day, but I'd always do it at the same time and go to bed at the same time. It's not as bad as like changing it around a lot. So I think the fact that I ate late does have a bad effect, but the fact that I change it a lot has a bigger effect. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it does. Although, like, for instance, on my end, the variability of when I go to sleep is pretty, like, it's, I think my Fitbit is saying is like an hour, 30 minutes. So it's not, it's more than what they suggest. But then an hour, 30 minutes, I mean, it's the difference between 10 and 11:30, right? Like, is it that much of a difference? The reality of it, what I see is that I tend to wake up kind of at the same time, no matter when I go to sleep. So it does make a difference because it's half an hour and a
Yeah.
half less of sleep.
Yeah.
And I agree with you. Like I check. So basically, every morning I check how I slept the day before, the night, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Same.
And the two numbers that I
That's
check,
actually, I think, a bad habit. Like I always check my phone right away. Like
yeah,
this is, sorry to
that is a
interrupt, but
bad
like this is,
habit. Checking the
it's a
phone.
super bad habit. Like I'm like every morning I wake up. Like I wake up several times, which sucks also. Like I wake up at 6, then at 7, then at 8, and I look at my phone. I upload the Aura data in the morning as I lay in bed, and then I decide if I should sleep longer or not. This is super
No,
stupid.
but I don't think, honestly, I think it's a good point. Like, yes, it is bad to check your phone first thing in the morning. Agreed. But checking the way you slept, it's good information that you wouldn't have otherwise. Because I always used to guess wrong, right? Uh, One thing is I have 1 to 1.5 sometimes hour of time as awake when I'm asleep, right? Like during the night. So if I go to bed and think I'm gonna sleep 9 hours, in reality, the best I can hope for is 8 or 7:30, right? Which already changes your perspective. But then seeing it in numbers, that 30 minutes, or like, is it a 45-minute wake time night, or has it been like an hour and a half wake time? Like
Yeah.
that plays a huge difference. And then the other thing I check is the, as you said, like REM and deep together. Like, is it like more than 3 hours or less? Because if it's less, I know it's going to be a complicated day. If it's more than 3 hours between REM and deep, I'm good.
Yeah. So, but
Yeah.
what does it? What does how does it help you to know that it was good or bad? Because like that's what I'm wondering. You could also just trust the feeling of your body.
The way I see it, I mean, at least my experience so far is that in the shorter term of the day, doesn't change much,
Yeah.
because also the way you wake up is the way you wake up. You
Yeah.
woke up because naturally it was the right moment, that moment. Like you have waves, cycles of the sleep, right? If you wake up at the right time, even if it's very early, immediately you don't feel bad about
But
that,
that's
right?
what I was saying is that what I actually do is I wake up first thing in the morning, I check my phone, and then I decide if I should get up or try to sleep more.
Okay, I read a book one day that said that you have 8 minutes. I think, I don't know if we talked about it, but like when you wake up at night or early morning, right? Or whenever, when you wake up, you have these 8 minutes. If you can fall asleep within those 8 minutes, you're not disrupting your cycle of sleep. It's like you didn't wake up. If you don't go like fall asleep in those 8 minutes, you basically restart the cycle again. And so that has an impact because you don't sleep as well, because it takes, what is it, 90 minutes to reach the stage at which you actually restore, right? So the sleep is restorative. So I don't know if it's true or not, but like I kind of like keep it as a, when you wake up at night, you have to go to the bathroom, fine, it's gonna be under 8 minutes, you fall asleep again, right? Not a big deal.
Yeah.
A lot of like small wake ups in at night, it's fine. If you wake up and you like check your phone, chances are it's gonna be more than 8 minutes, right? So that's one problem. But ultimately, this information for me is helpful for the longer term, for the day. Like I know that after 5 p.m., given the way my days are, if I haven't slept well the night before, I'm gonna like feel it. And it's not before 5 p.m. I could have slept very bad, or okay, of course it has an impact in the speed at my the way I think and do things, for sure, my energy, motivation, but doesn't really impact too much until I get to like second part of the afternoon there and the evening. If I haven't slept well, I feel it very, very
Yeah,
much.
I wonder if there's a nocebo effect going on. Like if you didn't check, like let's say you turned off Bluetooth for a couple days, and in the morning and in the evening you write down how you feel, like this guy did on YouTube. There's like a YouTube video on that. And then you actually try to compare how you actually felt in the evening to what your sleep scores were, if you're right, or if sometimes you're telling yourself you're more tired than you should be, just because you
Yeah, I
know
don't
the
I
score
don't
was
know,
right.
because I don't keep the thinking for the day about like, I slept 75%, like, like score 75 or less than 8 hours. Like, but I think it's good because it helps you find your sweet spot and plan
Yeah,
accordingly, right?
yeah.
I know that if it's less than 7 hours and a half of
Of
sleep
sleep
for
or of
me,
time in bed.
of actual sleep,
Yeah,
I feel it.
yeah.
If it's more than 7 hour and a half, it's just gonna be a boost in everything.
Okay.
Like so, but then it's very hard. I don't think, since I have the like from like, what is it, more than a year now that I have my Fitbit, I think I've never reached 9 hours of actual sleep.
Yeah.
I think my maximum was
I
eight
should
forty,
check.
something like
So, but
that.
like,
Yeah.
so you optimize for the RAM and deep. It doesn't show you separately.
It does. It does. It shows you all four, like the light sleep. Then there's the deep REM, and then there's a restorative or something like that. There's another. There's a third. There's a. I'll tell you. There's like
So
there's a
I checked.
fourth one.
I do have some nights where I get more than 9 hours, but it's rare. Like it's 8 to 9 usually. Sometimes it's 7.
Oh, awake. So you have awake, REM, light, and deep, basically.
Yeah, same.
That's what the Fitbits are.
Yeah, it's just that. So I noticed that my RAM is basically useless. My RAM reading, like I always get enough RAM according to the Ring. Of course, like it's possible that they tell you wrong things, right? We don't have like the perfect measurement, and I think that's why it would be interesting also to wear the Whoop at the same time and see if they agree. I think that'd be super interesting. But what I noticed is that if I have trouble, it's with the deep sleep. And usually the amount of deep sleep defines how I feel. Like I think for me personally, and that might be just my body, my RAM is always enough, always. And the deep sleep is my biggest issue. I don't get enough deep sleep. Some nights, even though I sleep for 10 hours and I go to bed early and everything, I have like 20 minutes of deep sleep. It's crazy. So
yeah, but I mean that makes sense. And also when I recently got sick, right? I got some fever, and deep sleep was like 5 minutes. Those nights. So it shows you how impactful that is. I mean, it's interesting to see on the like after things happen or while they happen, right? So going back to your point of understanding yourself better. I honestly, at least personally, I don't think it really has an impact on my decisions too much. But because I feel, if it's good or not. But it is true that like now I have a series of metrics that tell me if something is going off, right? So I have the Fitbit, and I also use a lot the whiting scale, the one that gives you the body mass percentage,
I
gives
think
you
Withings, right, is the brand.
Whitings or what?
I think it's
Whitings.
Withings.
Okay.
I don't know.
And then and so it gives you these useful metrics on, of course, I don't know how reliable they are day to day, but since I weigh myself every day, right? I see the trends in the muscle percentage, fat percentage in my body, and also it gives you a score for your pulse wave velocity, which is basically a measure to see how young your circulatory system is.
Well, mine doesn't do that. Mine is just the fat and the weather. It tells me the weather, which is funny.
Yeah.
And it says, does yours say happy birthday on your birthday?
No, it doesn't.
Mine
I
says
don't
like Happy New Year on January 1st, and on my birthday I was like Happy Birthday.
That's cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, and I think the other thing it does, it gives me the nerve system score, something like that. So
Yeah, I don't have any of those. I don't know anything.
That's interesting because I see, but the easiest metric is really the heart rate.
Like for the scale gives you the heart rate, you mean?
The scale gives me the heart rate, but like I have it in Fitbit, and I easily see like because the scale heart rate is a moment in time, you might have waken up like suddenly, and then but I see when I'm getting sick, my baseline heart rate just increases. I think it's normal, right? So I get easily beyond 80 doing nothing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Generally it's on the low 60.
Yeah.
And also checking it at night, very useful, right?
Yeah,
like because
sure.
the night average heart rate, very interesting. And I noticed this thing, I don't know why, but in winter tends to be way higher, my baseline nightly heart rate compared to like
check.
spring.
I don't actually know. I mean, I haven't had it for so long, so I've only worn it in the winter, so I can't really say.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering. So heart rate or heart rate variability? They're super correlated.
So heart rate variability increases for me in spring and summer.
Yeah, but
that makes
because
sense.
heart rate variability and heart rate are inversely correlated, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But hold on, where would that be in? So in your heart rate at night, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, where would that be? Wait a second. Is it the lowest heart rate or the average heart rate?
So it gives me the full night.
Yeah, but like, what's the number you were referring to?
They call it average sleeping heart rate.
Oh, average. Yeah, so I don't have average. I just have resting heart rate, and that's the minimum of the night. They give me the minimum of the night as the value for that night.
Okay.
So I don't know if it's no, but for me it's just like when I was sick. Like it's very, very clear. Like it was a little bit lower in January, February. Oh no,
I can tell you my minimum. Like
honestly, I don't think it makes a difference for me. I think it's when I'm sick. It's more like when I'm sick and what I'm doing. So for example, I mean we have different we have different like lives, obviously. And I do a lot of dancing at night. And I do know that if I have any sort of exercise in the evening, my resting heart rate at night is higher. Always. Like my body's recovering from the activity. Like even if I bike back home, like if I take the bike to come back home at night for like 10 minutes or something, I get my heart rate elevated and then it stays elevated throughout the entire night. Not super elevated, but more than, on a day where I'm like relaxing.
That's interesting. I mean, Fitbit is saying that like for most people, sleeping heart rate tends to be around 4 BPM slower on average, lower, sorry, on average than resting heart rate while awake.
Oh, for me, the difference is much, much bigger. Much, much bigger. My resting heart rate during the day is like, I want to say like 60, 65, and at night it's 47.
Your average?
No. So, okay, that's the point. I think it depends on how they report the data. So the Oura Ring reports the lowest of the night.
Yeah, my lowest last night, for instance, was 47.
Yeah,
but
my
it
lowest
was
is
like
always
once.
47. I've never had under 47. So it doesn't give me the average. I don't know where I can find the average. Maybe.
Yeah, so I think these things are heart rate is the easiest thing to check. Like, how am I doing over? Like, it's so quick, and in Fitbit you have a tab and it tells you like that's very nice. Because it tells you a lot of different things at different moments during the day. I check it, and it also easily correlated with like how stressed I feel and things like that.
Yeah,
right? So,
for sure.
Yeah, that's nice. But overall, I don't know. On my end, I don't think. I think knowing these things, checking these things, is a way to see if like I am on the right path or not. Although the body fat and lean fat percentage thing fluctuates so much for me, it's so strange, and I'm trying to figure out like and connect it to what I'm eating, like the day before, what did I eat? But
I mean, let me tell you about that. So I obviously use it too. And I think I'm pretty sure yours just uses like electrical impedance of your feet, right? Your feet are on there, and then
correct.
So it's just, I mean, there's a lot of things that go into it, and one of the main things is just like your skin's conductivity, and like the skin's conductivity is super, super influenced by how wet and how moist your skin is at any point in time. So if you do it right before you shower and right after you shower, you will have a huge difference. Or if it like right after like sweating, like it will be very, very different. So I think the actual readings, if you don't try to gain or lose weight, which I'm doing because like I'm doing these bulking and cutting cycles in the gym, you won't, like, all the differences you see are meaningless. It's the average over the week for all your measurements is what you should care about. Daily fluctuations are completely meaningless. Like completely meaningless.
Yeah, that would make sense.
So like if you go to the gym every day and are in a caloric deficit or surplus and average every week, then you will see a difference. But any fluctuations from one day to another is completely meaningless. Like I can like, for example, I don't know if it was yesterday, but like I measure myself. Well, should I should I tell my body fat percentage on the air? So I measured myself like before I shower, and I have like 20%. Then I go to the shower, I measure myself, and then I have 17%. 3% difference from taking a shower.
Hey, you burn some calories, But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Mine is, I think it fluctuates between 13 point something and 14. But like if I go over 14, I feel it. Like it is true that like there is some correlation to the way I feel, right? Like, but
In body fat, that doesn't make any sense.
What do you mean?
And you feel your body fat percentage difference?
It's not that you feel your body fat percentage difference, but you feel like more or less energized. Like, I mean,
I don't believe you, honestly.
I think 1%, like 1% increase, it means that I ate stuff that like changed a lot of other things in my current.
I mean, that's what I'm just saying. Like, I think it's the number is meaningless. The number, if you're not like changing your actual weight by several, like by more than a kilo per week.
Of course, changes the. Oh no, sorry, I'm missing the piece. Of course, it changes the weight. So I have also fluctuations in terms of like overall weight. Like that's the other thing that the percentage by itself doesn't mean anything. But like I have fluctuation one like half a kilo easily one day to the other, if not 1 kilo, right?
Yeah, of course.
And
I
so
can eat, like when I eat dinner, I always eat a big dinner. The weight difference sometimes is 2 kilos from just from dinner. I eat 2 kilos of dinner.
no, but you always wait at the same time, right? So
No,
that
I weigh
to
several times
remove
a
the
day, always.
okay, no, I wait every morning when I wake up.
Yeah,
So
so
I
but
remove
that
the
will
kind
just
of
tell you like basically what's in your like. Do you do it before you go to the bathroom?
after.
After like
I want to,
number two and number one, or just number
yeah,
one?
of course,
But no,
after
I
both.
don't do it like that.
I want to be real. I don't want
Yeah,
you
but the
know,
thing is, like,
you know.
different things take different time to digest and so on. I mean, it's difficult.
Yeah, but if it's been the entire night, I mean, honestly, I don't. Of course, there's no perfection in this thing, and maybe I'm trying to, but like the point I'm making is 1% extra fat with an increase of half a kilo. That means half a kilo of fat, basic. Not half a kilo of
No,
fat, but
no,
like
that's not
a
how it
good
works.
percentage of fat.
Like
No,
you,
it's not the good percentage, but it's an increase in fat. Like it's a clear increase. If the weight increases and the percentage increases, it is an increase.
no, but you cannot gain half a kilo of fat in a day. It's
No, you
impossible.
can't. No, agreed, because it's a percentage, right? But you can still like so if you have half a kilo of increase in weight, that could be water, lean mass, muscle mass, right?
No,
So
that's what I'm saying. The increase in weight that you measure is mostly what's in your belly and your hydration levels, because like it's also the
so
amount of blood
water,
you have, huh?
so it is water. Your hydration level is water.
Yeah, but it's like it can be water in your skin, in your
Doesn't matter. It's
intestine.
still water. It's the percentage of
Yeah,
water, right?
sure.
Okay. So there's that, and there's if you're not counting what you still need to digest because you have digested it because you were waiting yourself in the morning, so you haven't eaten, and the last time you ate was hours like the day before, and you already like evacuated. I don't know how to say like. Then what we're discussing is the fact.
Yeah.
What we're discussing is the fact that you have an increase in weight, which is it can be water, it can be muscle, it can be fat. Somewhere it is, right?
Okay,
And
let me let me.
my
I
point
think
in all
okay.
this is just to say that like if it's not in muscle mass and it's not in water, also checking the water percentage is interesting. Like when I wake up, that's an interesting piece. But like if it's not one of those two, I feel it. I feel that like I have less energy when I have more fat. That's the point, and I think it
Yeah,
makes
but
sense.
I'm saying that I don't. I mean, I think you're wrong. I think you cannot in a day. I think like all of the weight differences you see from day to day are like 90% are like whatever is in your in your digestive system at that point, and your hydration level in your muscles and so on. Because like so, for example, you can increase your weight, you can increase your apparent weight and your apparent muscle mass even by eating more carbs and eating more creatine, right? Creatine and carbs both increase the water retention in your muscles, which makes your muscles seem to have more weight, but it's actually not real muscle weight. And the most, I mean, I can actually do the math, but it's going to take a while. I think the most muscle um, or fat you can gain in a day is like 50 grams max. There's like everything else, 90%
Yeah,
of
but
the.
that doesn't. So sorry, but this is exactly the point I'm making. So if the difference on water levels in percentage affects your feelings, your like if you have a lot of water or little water,
Yeah,
like it
yeah.
changes, right? The same happens if like I see it with like I'm trying to make a connection. Of course it's not that easy with like did I eat a lot of carbs the day before? Yes. Okay, good. Now what's my scale saying? The scale is saying your fat mass is increased in percentage. What is my scale saying in terms of weight? Increase in weight. It could be very well what you're saying, which is you didn't really generate more fat in your body, but it's just that some extra weight because you're still digesting
Yeah,
after like 12 hours
yeah.
some of the carbs. But that doesn't change the overall effect. which
Okay, so
is
it's just that if you notice that like you have a big bump in weight in that day, it probably means you're a little bit sluggish because maybe your digestive system is still working or something.
that could be the
Yeah.
I don't know what's the reason, but like I see the connection. I see the connection in and then as you said, but most likely it's the scale that is wrong in saying I increase 1% in fat, which in reality is like stuff that's still being digested.
Oh yeah, for
Could be.
sure.
Could be, yeah. But it's interesting to see. And then I don't see this when that percentage is lower, although the weight increases
Yeah. I see. I
one day
see.
to the other. But then maybe I'm looking too much into it. And
Yeah, I think for
I
me,
don't know.
like I think the daily measurements, I kind of started not paying too much attention because like I think I know the things that influence it, and we're getting far away from the fitness trackers. But like I know that, for
Oh,
example,
yeah,
like if I go dance the night before, it will completely change my value just because I sweat in the evening, which means I'm dehydrated and I don't have a lot of salts to like retain the water, which means I'm more dehydrated when I get up, which means my fat percentage is higher, even though I don't have more fat if I dance in the evening, like for sure not, right? It's just that I'm more dehydrated. My skin is drier, right? Um,
interesting. Yeah.
and things like that. It's like also like for example, if you eat a lot of fiber the night before, digestion is much slower, and you have a lot of water retention in your intestines because like
Mhm.
the fiber just goes really slowly through your intestines and retains a lot of water, right? All these things matter. And then in the end, it's also like that affects your weight, but like the actual measurement of the fat percentage and muscle percentage is really just the skin on your feet. You have to think about that. It's actually
Yeah,
measuring
it's
the
not that
dryness of your
reliable.
skin of your
It's
feet.
not that reliable.
It's
Yeah.
also like, and that winter summer thing, right? It depends on the humidity of your room. You don't have to forget that. It's like if your room is really dry, it will probably show you a higher reading for fat percentage than if your room is very humid.
Yeah. Yeah, but overall, even like if we don't take these numbers in general, I'm thinking, and not only the scale, but like if you don't think these numbers are like for the meaning of their value, right? Like, but you consider them as like a baseline. Okay, this is where I start. This is when things change. I think it's still good to see, like, it's pretty much what the trackers, like is Fitbit says initially, is like, we're calculating your baseline. You're like, when you're okay, what are your metrics? And then we'll let you know if things go up or down
Yeah,
considerably
for
compared
sure.
to that. That makes a lot of sense
Yeah,
because you want to, so the reason, so if you have to think about like, why are you doing this, why are you keeping the trackers, why are you going this extra work of keeping track of things in your like exercise, sleep. The reason, at least for me, is I want to quickly spot if things are not the way they should be. Now, that said, and potentially the second point is like, try to slightly improve, slowly improve on some of the metrics. And if you have a baseline, whatever is your baseline, you start from there and you start like, improve my oxygenation at night. That's a nice metric to check, right? Improve the length of the right sleep metrics.
yeah,
A nice,
for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree with
So
that.
there's both things, right?
Yeah, for trends and baseline, yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. I think like to have a baseline is super useful. Also like year on year, right? Like, I mean, I just started now, but it would be so interesting to see if I had the data, which I don't. Like, how was my HRV when I was 20? Like, how were my sleep scores when I was 20? Because like I feel like it would have been much better, but who the fuck knows? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think if I keep wearing it for like let's say 10 years, it will be very good to see if like the scores get much worse because I get older or like my lifestyle changes a lot. And I think yeah, for sure that will be very
It's
helpful.
it's the same thing as I go running and I use the Nike app for running. It's pretty cool. I've been using it for like 12 years. So I see my previous runs like back in the days and right now, and that's one of the few things I've been very consistent in my life. I always ran like 5K. So it's a 5K run, not too many times in a year, depending on the year, but for the past like 12, 15 years. And I can tell you that was a very interesting metric to check. Like the moment right before COVID, one summer I had my best time, 5K, right? I did in like 4 minutes, average 4 minute per kilometer, 4 minutes, like 9 seconds, something like that, which I was like, wow, that's amazing. Never before in the history of my life I reached that
Yeah.
record. Then COVID hit, and after I was like literally 1 minute on average slower per kilometer.
Yeah. Because
Same path.
you stopped practicing, or you think because you got sick, or
Yeah,
what?
I think because I don't know, but I think because for 2 months I didn't run,
Mm.
and not only that, because in winter I barely run because it's too cold, right? But
So it's
but
true what
like,
they say. COVID made time slow down.
yeah, I mean, so I think the point there was I was also walking way less, so less active in general, and I don't know about diet. I don't think the diet was that bad, but yeah. So like it took me. I'm still not back to that best time, but now I'm closer to that. Like at least under the around the 430 per kilometer. But that's, that's one metric that I look at, because when I'm sick I can't run, right? Like
Yeah.
if I don't feel super good, I can't remotely get that kind of like performance, right?
Yeah.
So that's a good number, and I want to see if I can reach back, considering that years have passed. Okay, COVID was like some years ago still, and so you age, and so you tend to like decrease your performance with age, right? That's another thing.
Actually, I think I heard that running, at least like endurance running, is supposed to peak in your 30s or late 30s even. That's what I heard, because like I think most of the good marathon runners are like in their 30s or late 30s, and I think most of the good sprinters are in their 20s. But I think it's a different type of skill, or not even skill. Like I think
Yeah.
like it's force output of your muscles in the in the sprint, but it's like muscle endurance in the in the marathon. And I think that's supposed to increase in your 30s. I heard that somewhere. I don't know if it's true.
Yeah, I don't know, because I think I'm doing a weird mix, because it's not really like 5K is not, of course, it's not sprint, but it's also not really a marathon. Like it's
Yeah.
the shortest end. But what I'm trying to do is like do it as fast as the fastest I can, right? So that's the idea. I don't even know if it's healthy, but I like it, and it's a good
Yeah.
competition against myself. But yeah, so it's one metric that I've been having like for enough years to see like how am I doing right now compared to before. And also it's funny to think about, like I haven't yet, because I tried to find this connection but very hard to find a connection, like which is the best season. Because if you think about it, when you run summer, supposedly it's too hot.
Yeah.
Not supposedly, it is too hot, right? But still I'm not doing bad timings there, and spring is supposed to be the perfect season, but that not necessarily. I think it's also because of the fact that like I train a bit more during
Yeah.
spring, and then I don't know.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the
it's
only marathon I ever ran was in New York in August, I think, late August. That was so dumb. Like, and I think it was like 36 degrees or something, like Celsius, right? So that's like what, 90 something
yeah.
Fahrenheit? That was ridiculous. I don't know. I don't know why I was doing that. Well, I do know why I was doing it, to not lose a bet. But yeah, that was the only long
Wow.
distance thing I've done.
How long was it?
How long?
Do
Like
you
my
remember?
time?
Not the marathon. How many
I
kilometers?
mean, it's a marathon, so it's 42 kilometers.
I mean, you have also shorter ones, no?
No, I mean the
Is it
actual marathon is always 42. Like
Mhm.
there's like half marathon and so on. That's like
Yeah.
half the length, obviously. But it was, yeah, the length was 42 kilometers.
No, I've done like a urban trail. That was a dumb idea, and it was like in France, in a city that was like all up and down, and yeah, it was like 38 kilometers. At some point, I was like walking.
Yeah.
Like very very soon actually, I stopped
Up
running,
and
and
down also? Yeah.
yeah,
I mean
urban
that
trail.
sucks also
So
in New York, because like I don't know, I mean it's like everything was stupid about what I was doing. But New York is like super hilly, right? And I was like running
yeah,
down from Washington Heights to Central Park, and then in Central Park, and even Central Park is hilly, right? Like people don't
yeah,
realize, but it's
yeah.
like it goes up and down a lot. and it's so painful to go up the hills. Oh my god. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so I think on the fitness tracker side, we kind of like touched. Do you have anything new in the daily team habits,
The daily
healthy
Tim
habits?
habits. I don't know. I kind of stopped tracking stuff in that sense. You know, we had the habit spreadsheet. Maybe I'll
Yeah.
take it up again. I don't know. I want to add some new habits, but in terms of, yeah, not really. Like I have some habits I developed around eating, but they're not great habits. I think like I definitely need to improve. I'm keeping myself super busy these days, and I eat out a lot and super irregularly. I think that's not very good. I think the main thing, habit wise, when I'm not sick, and I'm currently, getting over a cold, is that I work out a lot. So like I started like a year and a half ago. I started going to the gym regularly, and I'm trying to go almost every day. So I'm shooting for 6 days a week, but I think it's more averaging 3 or 4, which is still really good, I think. And I'm going through these bulking and cutting cycles. So like when I was bulking over the winter, I was just stuffing my face. I was like eating. I really every time I was hungry, I was eating as much as I could and more. And
Mhm.
it's actually it's always been hard for me to gain weight, but like now I I definitely know how to now, because I gained like 15 kilos or something.
I
Uh,
mean, they say that your metabolism slows down as you age, right?
yeah,
Kind
I
of like,
think partly, but also like I just ate a ton. Like I ate so much, and not only good food. Like I really wanted to gain weight, so I tried. So my approach to dieting is like, instead of trying to uh, cut out things that are bad, at least in the bulking phase, that's actually when I was trying to gain weight. Instead of cutting things out that are bad for me, like processed food, which I should, um, I try to make sure that I get enough of the good stuff. So even though I eat,
mm,
let's say, pizza a couple times a week and like sweets every day, which help you gain weight for sure, I made sure that every day I get my veggies and my fruit, like every day. Like that was more important to me than avoiding the bad stuff, which I should still do, right? Avoid the bad stuff. And now when I'm cutting, like my strategy is more on the other side, like avoiding the bad stuff. But I can't always avoid it, because I keep busy so much that like sometimes it's just like, well, I'll just get this kebab, or I just get this pizza or whatever, because it's easy.
yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I don't know. Like one trick that I am experimenting these days, which is at least for me, it's working, is the testing. I call it so, which is
tasting.
what it is. Testing, which is what it is. Basically, let's say you're out and you have the temptation to get something that you know it's bad for you, right? Instead of like getting it for yourself, you share it with others, and you taste a little bit of it, which to me it's many times is enough. Like clear classic example, you're at a restaurant with friends. Should we order wine? Should we not order wine? And you're like, I don't want to drink wine, right? Not because I don't like it, I like it, but I'm trying to reduce on cut on wine, whatever. And so the table takes the bottle, you just taste a little bit of it. It's this, to me at least, like it works the same. Like I don't have to get even the entire glass. I just get like a little bit of it, and it's way better than not, than being like I don't even try it, because I enjoy it's like when you have the first sip of a beer, right? It's the best one
Mm.
of the entire beer, they say, right? I don't know if you agree, but like it's the same concept, and I like it because also with like desserts, things like that, one spoon of it doesn't, harms whatever it can harm, right? But still is different than not taking it, although you want it.
Yeah,
And does it make sense?
yeah, no, it totally makes sense, and I'm very happy that it works for you, but I'm like 95% sure this could never work for me, and the reason is that, I mean, for me personally, I know that if there's a dessert or something I like let's say tiramisu, or there's like these
Yeah.
chocolate things that oh my god, they're like crack. They're so amazing. Like I put them in my mouth and it's just like heaven. It's like an orgasm, mouthgasm. Anyway, so I know that if I have the box in the on the shelf and it's unopened, I can go for months without opening it. But once I open it and have one, I will eat the entire box right away every time. Like I cannot not eat like the serving size for like whatever serving size they say for me, the serving size for me is always the entire box every time.
Okay.
So like yeah, I think my I don't even know what it is, dopamine system or something is like really messed up. Like if I with alcohol it's the same. I had to train myself to like be okay with like 1 or 2 drinks. And actually I basically haven't had alcohol in like 6 months. I mean, I made some exceptions, but like it's I think like saying no to the first beer or whatever is much easier than saying no to the second one for me.
It's very interesting because for me, like alcohol specifically, one beer is more than enough. And so, like, 2 beers, I fall asleep. On the other hand, like, wine as well, like, I'm not, I don't think I'm a heavy drinker for that kind of, like, it's really context related. If I'm out partying, then it changes things. But like otherwise, I tend to not drink at all. Like, and so not that I don't like it. Again, like one glass, I would like it. But yeah, I found this to be like kind of like working
I
because
mean, that's good
many
for you.
times
I think then maybe
it's a willpower thing, right?
yeah, also, but maybe your dopamine system just works better than mine. I don't know. Like, I think like once I step over a certain threshold, I'm like all bets are off. Sometimes with some things for sure. Because like I think it's
Yeah,
also like 0 to 1 is infinite, but 1 to 2 is a tiny step. So like let's say you order the tiramisu and then you have the first bite and then you're like, well, one more bite doesn't change anything, and then a third bite doesn't change anything, but like actually ordering it, that changes a big thing. Does that make sense?
no, but yeah, I agree. But there is a difference. Not ordering it, the feeling of, oh man, I really wanted to taste it. Like that's why it's not that I call it
Yeah,
tasting.
but if it's
It's what
if
it
it's
is.
good, like you want more, no? Like
You're like, but fine. But I had my taste. Like I said, I was
yeah,
going to take.
doesn't work for
Yeah,
me.
because I could stop and not doing it at all. But like then I would like the problem is that the two extreme many times are painful. Like eating it all after, that's my, at least the way I function is I feel bad because I ate it, right? And while I was eating it, I liked it, but then after, I don't think that's healthy. But anyway, I feel bad because I'm like, I shouldn't have, didn't really improve my experience that much, right? But I wanted to taste it. But then not eating it, I'm like, I really would feel like having a dessert, right? So there's this,
Okay.
and so the taste, let's see, I'll keep you posted. It's a recent thing, it's been
I
a couple
mean,
of months.
if it works for you, I
Right.
think that's great. I think it sounds like a great strategy if it works for you. I just don't think it will work for me because I know myself too well. Maybe I can train myself. Probably I can train. You can train yourself to do anything. But like for me, it's definitely like certain things. If I have them in my mouth, I just want more of it. It's like it's
But
ridiculous.
it's like the temptation, like I agree with you, like proximity is a problem. Like if you buy something in the grocery shop and then you have it at home, for
Yeah, for
me at
sure.
least it's very hard because I always have it there, and I'm like, at some point my willpower will be lower than usual, and because I don't
Yeah,
know, whatever, but and then you're like, I don't have the mental capacity to like not eat that thing, right? Or but then like, yeah, in a way that's easier. But in those social contexts that I'm talking about, you are not in proximity of that thing for so long,
yeah.
right? Does it make sense? Like, it's not that I have a bottle of wine in front of me every day when I get into the kitchen. Then it will be a
Yeah,
problem
yeah,
because I have it, right? Again, it's not the case for me because I wouldn't drink it anyway.
yeah.
But yeah, I see. Anyway, it's interesting to look at these things because it's
Yeah,
always,
people are different also. Yeah,
we respond differently. Yeah.
yeah.
What do you say?
I mean, other than this, I think like in terms of habits, I mean, the gym is the main thing. I've tried to. Oh, actually, I have tried to kind of incorporate because I have some health issues I'm trying to get over. Some of it has to do with my neck pains, and I'm trying to like add some mobility exercises. I go through phases where like I'm super consistent about it. I do it every night. I like do like a 15-minute like mobility stretching routine, but then I stop again, so this is something. The gym has been pretty consistent for a year and a half, and I'm very happy about my progress. That's where I use the what I use the scale for, and it works really well. I think my whole bulking and cutting thing. So I'm very happy with that. I see the progress in the weights. Nutrition I need to optimize for sure, and I think my main hurdle is that I have such an inconsistent schedule, like because I work on my own time and I go out a lot, and my social life is just like messing up my schedule or my routine, I should say. So like I eat at very different
Because you have
times.
a social life at night, that like in the evening.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Like then I don't know when to eat. Like before I go out, after I go out, which is bad too. But then I go to bed hungry, which I hate. And then I get like things on the road and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. Need to figure that out for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's on that front. I was trying, like, there's a lot of the when you feel doing the things right, and this problem with the social aspect, like, it is a problem because the way we live, I mean, the average of people we know, you work during the day, and so you have the evenings, and then you're tired in the evening, so social life gets pushed to the weekends, right? And then there's the expectation on the weekends on doing a lot of things because that's the moment where you can be around people. That makes sense. It's actually a good thing to do. But that's why I was looking more and more. I'm reading a book right now about, I think it's called Never Eat Alone, which is not just about that. It's about like a lot more. It's about networking, and quite an interesting book. I
Yeah.
don't think it's recent, but did you read it?
No, but like makes sense.
But then I think that's one way to look at it. Like, people have to stop eating and stop and eat, right? And so that's a good moment when to socialize, that doesn't really push your sleep schedule and things like that, because in an ideal world, you wouldn't have to go to bed. Like, everybody would go to bed early, which
Yeah.
because it's better for them, right? And then everybody would socialize in other moments of their life. It's the way society is structured, the work day, that I think messes up, and also the way, if you think about it, holidays are structured,
Yeah.
because everybody goes on holiday at the same time, which in a way makes sense, but not so much.
Yeah.
Like, you
Like it
could
messes
have,
up the economy a little bit.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you could have shifts, and it
Yeah.
doesn't change. It's not that everything has to stop in a
Yeah.
way, right?
Yeah. I mean,
I
that's
don't know
like one
what I
of the
would.
biggest things in Germany. I don't know how it is in Italy, but like everything's closed on Sundays, which like drives me nuts. So like you can't do anything on Sundays, but like during the week everyone's working. So when is everyone gonna go shop like for groceries? It's super dumb. Like I used to live in Munich. Right now I live in Berlin, which is a little bit better because the grocery stores are open until like 10 or midnight.
Okay.
But in Munich, by law, everything closes at 8. So like sometimes you really have to rush to even get any groceries. If you work late, like it's crazy because
Yeah,
everything
that's
closes at 8. And I don't know. And wait, what did I want to say? Oh, there's actually so on in response to your eating with other people, I actually don't enjoy it too much. I don't enjoy dinner meetings or dinner
yeah.
dates or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Like I think like it stresses me out to eat and talk at the same time, I think. I don't know. Like
Really.
I need to focus on the food. Yeah. Um
There are two things I really like doing with people, like walking and eating.
no,
I don't
walking is
know. To
nice.
me,
I,
that's.
I like actually activities. I like activities with other people. I
But
did
then,
go ahead.
no, I was thinking, like, then if there are activities that I have to think too much about, then I don't focus on the person and the
I
conversation.
think
Like,
like you just create much stronger bonds if you do something. For example, like
I don't.
with my old friends from school, like I still meet them a lot and they always want to go drink. Always. And I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to go drink all the time. But like, so then like a couple of months ago, I organized like a, escape room with them. And it's super
Yeah.
nice. And I think like also like for new people, if you meet new people, like could be a really good bonding experience, also for dates and stuff. Like if you want to meet someone. Like,
Oh, that is true. No, doing things in general with people, yeah, it's a great
yeah.
idea for
Or
sure. But like,
projects together or whatever.
not to get to know, like, not to talk. Like, they're two different.
Yeah, yeah, I
I
see.
don't know
Yeah.
if I see it in a weird way, but like, if you want to share things with people, like, and talk about life or things, it's
Yeah.
not. it's not the right
Yeah.
environment. But yes, to have good experiences for sure. But yeah, so but it goes back to the habits that one has. Do they fit the other
Yeah,
person,
for
like
sure.
the other?
I started doing
Because
more lunch dates, like meeting people for lunch, because like dinner is always complicated because like I have all my dancing stuff in the evening and like you never know when I get out. But like lunch, usually because I'm flexible enough, I can like meet people for lunch. That's what I do often now, to meet people for lunch if I can, if they're also flexible, obviously. And also like it's easier to keep it short because like I don't know, like long food meetings kind of stress me out. That's why like lunch is nice. You can keep it short. I don't know.
you can't leave when you don't want to stay anymore because you
Exactly.
still
Yeah.
have to eat. Yeah, that makes
Um,
sense.
and in terms of other habits, I was thinking about it before when you were talking. Um, it's not really health related, but I added some other habits. You know, like the things I do every morning are like doing my
Yeah.
to-do list and like journaling and inbox clearing and all the stuff. Like so journaling and gratitude have been on my to-do list, on my habits for a long time, and Duolingo, which I don't know, I don't think I want to continue doing anymore because it's not getting me anywhere. But I added a new one recently and I've been doing it very consistently for like a month and a half now, and I got it from the book Storyworthy. Have you
Okay.
heard of that?
Yeah.
And the task, and I think it's really nice. I didn't do it when I was on vacation, but I'm looking at it now. Is every day you write down a story from your life, like just in like a quick bullet points, like shouldn't take you more than a minute. Something that happened to you that day, or something that you witnessed that somehow you deem important. It can be like a funny story, but it can also be something where you learned something that changed you a little bit. And I think it's a cool thing because like it makes you reflect on like what changed you today, but also it gives you stuff to talk about because stories are a super powerful tool to connect with people,
Yeah.
right? But also it makes you see patterns in your life, and I think it's very cool. I think like yeah, I've been doing it for a month and a half now. Let's see how long I'll do it for.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That reminds me, there's a service. I don't. Unfortunately, they don't have it in Italy, but I was thinking about it. That it basically helps you write the story of your life. I think there are like a couple of services like that in US,
like
and so
like
basically
biographical, you mean?
yeah,
Yeah.
they organize calls, and it's not necessary for you. They do it mostly. These are like gifts for your grandpa, your grandma, right? Like things like that,
I think.
and and they organize calls. So they ask you to tell the story, and then they record everything that you say in the story, and then they write your story.
Hmm.
Super cool because who wants to who has the energy and of putting yourself there and writing the story, but who actually has stories to tell? A lot of people,
Yeah.
like, and this thing about not necessarily your heritage, but like how much do you know about the people that like were in your family
Mm.
and what they were doing? I'll be very curious, and sometimes
Yeah.
I ask my parents, and but then they know little because how much do you tell about your like people that know you very well? They know, but like then they don't like tell the stories, and then they forget about them, and right.
Mm.
So it's very interesting. I think it's something that potentially everybody should do. Like you you just tell your story. It's similar to what you're saying,
Yeah.
right? Instead of you tell your story and then it's there, and others might be interested. Like why not?
Yeah. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be personal in a sense, like you don't have to mention personal things, but I think it's there are many stories out there that get lost
Yeah. For sure.
because yeah,
Yeah.
people don't.
Sometimes I think back and I'm like, I actually I had amazing things happen in my life, like super interesting things, super amazing things, and so on. But oftentimes, like you forget about it after a while. Sometimes you like remember with your friends, you're like, oh, I remember that time when this and this happened, and it's actually like one of the craziest stories. But then you don't like retell it and stuff, and it gets lost, which is kind of sad. But it's also
Yeah,
nice. It's
and then
nice that you have like ephemeral, fleeting things. Makes life beautiful, also. You know.
yeah, I mean it's and then you collect a lot of pictures, and sooner or later you might want to
Yeah, but that's the
look at the
that's the thing.
picture.
I mean, it's like it kind of like goes far away from the topic of today. But
Yeah.
I on taking pictures and videos and stuff, sometimes I think like it's actually nice not to have a record. Like I think like there's a value to having a record. I barely look at old pictures actually, but like sometimes I do. And like it's cool to show pictures like, oh, remember that cool trip where we like, and I have like amazing pictures from trips, but I kind of stopped doing it. And then, like when you see these people with their Instagram stories and stuff, and like I feel like sometimes it disconnects them from the actual experience. That's number one, I think. And also like maybe sometimes the moment or the beauty of the moment gets increased if you don't keep a record of it, because it makes it so much more valuable to experience it.
Yeah, I'm conflicted about this. By the way, it's not far because it's still about tracking in a way.
Yeah,
I
true.
think, yeah, the problem is the same thing as like with tracking everything in your life. I think there's value in tracking things as long as it is done in a way where you don't really think about it that much, right? So taking pictures and video, I think videos are 1,000 pictures, right? Like a video, like the other day I was checking in my computer like a couple of videos that I took of like with other people, and then it really immerses you in that moment
Yeah, for sure.
way more than a picture, to me at least, way more than a picture. Yeah, a picture is fine, you kind of like guess and remember what it was, but like a video doesn't lie, like it tells you exactly what
Yeah,
was that moment, right? And it's super powerful. So there was a period in my life where I was like, I'm gonna take videos, right?
yeah,
But then I never got myself to do it properly because
yeah,
you completely lose the moment. Like
yeah. I know.
even a picture, but like a video is even worse because you're careful of taking it, so you see through the video
Yeah,
because you
yeah.
can't do twice. As soon as they're gonna fix this and solve it, like in terms of like
Like
technology.
VR headsets and stuff. It just like records all the
No, I
time.
mean in terms of like recording, like they were getting close with Google Glasses, right? Like
Yeah,
the
exactly.
moment you can record stuff and without really like
Yeah,
changing your
changing what you do.
perception,
Yeah.
then it will be easier and
But
it will
then
be
who's
better,
gonna
I
review
think.
all that footage? It's like, because like you have to curate it, and otherwise you have too much stuff, right? Maybe AI can help us. We're like, hey, show me that one
No, but
time where I
then
did this. Yeah.
exactly. I mean, the moment first of all, you're not going to record everything. Who cares, right? There
I
was
think at
the
some
other day
point,
there was
like
a
we will be recording everything all the time. Just our device will always be on.
yeah, there was I think I didn't send you, but there is a company that just launched a thing that record, these video call recorder things, note takers that now populate everywhere. Like I don't know if you've
Like the
seen
one
them.
we've
I
been
use
using,
them a lot.
Woodpecker and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and so now they made one for offline,
Yeah.
which is really not really just for offline. Like it records everything you say and the other person
Yeah.
says, but there's a nice catch. You have to like say, hey, would you mind if I record this
Yeah.
conversation? And if the person acknowledges, then starts
Oh,
recording
really? That's
like
cool.
the
Yeah,
other
that's
person.
very cool.
Otherwise it doesn't. It's a nice trick. But so it's a pin that you attach to your like collar or something, and then it's like a little mic, really what it
What
is.
is it called?
And I'll find it. It is
We
called
should put all these products as
Limitless.
affiliate links in the description of the episode.
It's called Limitless,
Limitless, I don't know.
of course. The
Yeah,
Limitless
no, I
pin.
did hear about it. Wait, it wasn't the one that like was so badly reviewed on all the on YouTube and stuff that like they went bankrupt, because there was one of those weird pins that like where the company went
No, I
bankrupt.
think I think they just launched it like a few days ago. But yeah, there was one that was very bad. I see what you mean. Like now, this is like a little pin that you put, and it records only the audio though, right? And it takes notes and it has the transcript. I don't see honestly how this can be super useful because besides the problems with recording all
Yeah.
of the things you say, I see more problems than because yeah. So but the video thing, it's like I wouldn't care too much about like listening back to things that I
No,
said
for sure. Like
or
I'm very
does it make sense?
conflicted. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish I had a recording of this memory or something, and I don't. And but like at other times I'm like, thinking about it all the time is really annoying. Like, sometimes you're on a
Yeah.
trip and you're like, oh, I should take pictures and stuff, but like it's just like I hate it. Like some people love it, but I like always like, having your phone ready and whatnot to like take a picture and like then think about it, and I don't know. And it takes away from the moment, I think. I
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does. It does. And there's a spin where like I understand, like I see the value of like the memories thing, but like then for what really? Like I agree with you in a way that what is it gonna change? Like ultimately, it can help you remember things for sure. Like if you see something, you're like, oh yes, this what I, for sure. Like your memory is not always remembering everything,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say a little bit more videos would help without thinking about them.
Yeah.
That's my
Yeah.
recipe.
I
Yeah.
think it's like maybe like it's a nice way to end this because it like circles back on the meditation thing. Like, does it take you out of the moment, right? Because like in the end, the moment is all we have. And so this is actually uh, a nice.
We're making everything so
Yeah.
philosophical. Huh?
It's almost like we planned it. So I have a nice story about this. So I'm a dancer, and a lot of people in the dance community like recording themselves, like when they dance, to like post it on social media and stuff. But also like sometimes to just analyze themselves to see if they get better and stuff. And I hate it. Like I hate doing it. I get super like nervous when I get recorded. I hate having a camera on me. But regardless, and I talked to my friend like a couple of years ago when I was living in Madrid, and he also lived in Madrid for the same amount of time as I. And I asked him if he was a good dancer, and I asked him if he ever like records himself, and he says no, he doesn't like it because not recording it. No, because I said like, oh, but then you have a great dance and it's lost forever, and he's like, but that makes it beautiful because like that means you have that moment and that dance only with that person. You only share it with that person, and no one else will ever know about it. So it makes it so much more intimate and special because it's only there.
Yeah, I buy into it 50-50. I
Yeah,
agree. I mean, it makes sense, but also watching it again, you yourself, who cares about the others, right? But like you yourself watching it again, it will help you remember. Yeah, but
yeah,
in a
no, for
way,
sure.
we
I mean,
also
I'm
change
also
what we remember.
conflicted,
That also, huh?
but also,
There's
I
a
mean,
piece there.
as soon as you know you're being recorded, you don't behave the same way. That's the point.
True.
Yeah.
That some people, yeah, I agree. But yeah, so in general, I think overall, this keeping track of things in your life, we could say, um, it has to feel like, as we said, it has to feel like you're not putting much effort into
Yeah.
it. Like not has to
And it
like to
shouldn't
you, it
increase your
doesn't have to
worries
be a
because
burden.
sometimes like it
Yeah.
can like, oh my
It
god, I
sh-
didn't sleep well, and then you're so stressed out because you didn't sleep well.
but then you get used to it. Like you get used to a lot of
Yeah,
things,
yeah,
right? So it's true. In the beginning, I was checking every single
yeah,
metric. Now, after more than
yeah.
a year, I'm like, yeah, whatever. Like I check it. It's part. It adds something to my life, but it doesn't really change my behavior that much. It
I think
makes me
I check my
more
phone more
aware.
often than I did before. That's a bad thing.
Okay. No, I don't. Not for
Maybe it will go
for
away at
Fitbit,
some point. Could be.
but I think at least it gives you more information.
Yeah,
It makes you more aware of yourself,
yeah.
and going to the memory side, I think still would help um, keeping track of these things, but I don't think we're there yet in a way that doesn't mess up with your experience of the present.
Yeah,
I
for
agree.
sure.